Right, we are starting. Good day, everybody. This is Linda from Food Focus, and on the other side of the screen is my business partner, Adele Kroch. Say hi, Deli.
Hi, everybody, from a very cold France. So nice to speak to you guys, knowing my heart is warm, and it's just lovely to be in contact with you guys there in South Africa.
Absolutely. So today we are starting a brand new series. Adele and I were chatting at the beginning of the year about why is it that we got into this business? Why did we start Food Focus? Now, one of the reasons, maybe you don't know the whole story, but one of the reasons was that Adele was moving to Paris. Not Paris, people, not Paris, Paris. And because she was leaving me and she was going overseas, and we had always wanted to work together, we had to think about how we could come up with a business that would allow us to do that. And so Food Focus was born, and Food Focus gives us the perfect platform to be able to work together every day, but it also gives us the perfect platform to actually work with our passion. The first passion, I think, is people. Hey, Deli, we love people. We love to see people succeed. And the second passion is food safety.
Sure.
So a little bit about me, because this is really about getting to know one another and having a conversation. So I'm Linda Jackson, and I've been in the food industry for too long, but for all my career, and I've always really enjoyed helping people. So I've done a lot of consulting, I've done a lot of training. I really love to train people and teach people knowledge. And I've also done a lot of auditing, which I like less. But along the way, I've learned a lot about food safety, and really we wanted to share that knowledge. So that's why I got into this process. Adele, what's your story? Tell us your story while I have my coffee. Have you guys got coffee? I hope so.
Absolutely, a very big cup, and I'm definitely going to take a sip. My side is I am a qualified environmental health practitioner. And during my time that I was environmental health practitioner, in those days, so I won't say when that is, because like Linda said, we've been in the industry long, it was called health inspectors. And even in that time, my passion started for the industry in terms of food safety. But the biggest part and the biggest passion for me started in assisting and helping people, to do the right thing. So from my side, that's my qualification, but I also went into auditing. I also had my own consulting business. But in all of that, the main thing that all the time is close to my heart is to help people, because I had a discussion with someone yesterday, Lynn, where he said to me, this industry is actually quite scary. If you're new to the industry or you're just coming into the industry, there's so many different acronyms and stuff, and it's actually a scary environment. And it's so nice to be able to speak to someone in basics, not necessarily a scientist, all the clever people in terms of the microorganisms, but for someone, like a quality person that walks into a factory where they maybe haven't studied, food science or microbiology as such, but their passion is they want to be part of a company and, assist in their quality. And also the single guys, the guys, the one-man bands, like they say, those people, just to have an opportunity to talk to someone and ask those questions, So for me, that's what I want to answer, and that's what I like and absolutely love being part of.
Great. And so that's exactly why we've started this series called Food Safety Fundamentals. So welcome to those of you that have joined us. Shamini, Verona, I see you guys. It's so nice to have you with us. Thank you very much for spending your tea time with the ladies from Food Focus. We really appreciate it. We're going to have a shout out from you guys really shortly, because this isn't about us talking, it's about you guys talking. But we just wanted to give you a little bit of a background. So for those of you that don't realize, we get probably an inquiry a day, sometimes a lot more, on our website from people that are asking questions about running a food business in South Africa. Our favorite question is, how do I get a COA? No, actually, our favorite question is, what is a COA?
Yeah.
And then the next question is, how do I get a COA? So we have lots of conversations with small companies that are starting out. And then we also have our food safety forum, which, or our food forum rather, where people get an opportunity to pose questions. And so what we thought of doing was really just taking that one step further. If you didn't know we had a forum, go and check it out, because it's an opportunity for you to ask us questions in the middle of the night. If it strikes you, we'll answer it the next morning. But there is a platform for you to actually interact with us on specific issues. So I thought I would just share a couple of those questions, because maybe they resonate with you, and then we can hand it over to you guys, because we really want this platform to try and address some of the questions that you have within your job and within your role in the food industry. We will be planning a program of activities, so there will be formal sessions where we discuss certain issues, but we also want to make sure that at least once a month we have this open session where you can speak to a real live human being at the other end of a camera, obviously, but you actually get the opportunity to talk to us, and we can just find out how you are doing, and are there any things that are specifically bothering you. So I just want to share a couple of the questions that we've had just in the last month, since the beginning of the year. We've had people ask us about updating their legal registers and what are the latest regulations pertaining to a particular industry. So in this case, we were able to help someone who's in the baking sector, and we were able to provide the sort of latest information about regulations. I then had another query from a company who was wanting to know what is the status of the current colour regulations or colorant regulations within South Africa. We were able to engage with the Department of Health, and unfortunately the 1999 regulations still stands. And the bad news is it's not going to be changed, definitely not in the foreseeable future, which I know can be really frustrating, because the European legislation is far ahead of ours. There are many more colorants that have been accepted, but unfortunately the colorant regulation in South Africa is still status quo. We then have had some interesting discussions about getting GMO certification and non-GMO certification. So that was quite interesting to do that research and to assist that organization. And then we had an interesting one regarding allergen labeling on unprocessed vegetables. I nearly lost my mind, because it was an auditor who raised this, but we all are human beings, we all make mistakes. So I just had to do a little bit of research to show the organization that allergens in that particular context would not be applicable, and the labeling would also not be applicable in terms of the definitions within the regulation. So we had some interesting discussions from that perspective. So those are the kind of questions that we have been asked. I've also seen some interesting questions out on Facebook where, people have been asking questions around air quality and how this impacts on food safety, questions relating to micro-testing methods. And so these are the kinds of conversations that we would like to have, where we can literally take a question that is posed and have a bit of a chat about that and point people in the right direction. So what we've done with the queries that we have had, sorry, Del, is we've published articles on those issues to try and make it available to everyone. Your turn. Sorry, am I hogging the airtime? Go for it, Del.
No, it's not that at all. But that's also what I want to say is you can see that in terms of the type of questions, we've got literally nearly two groups. It's the technical type of questions that we get, and then we also get those questions of younger people in terms of that hasn't been in the industry for that long, and then they ask the questions like, how do I become an auditor? I'm really interested.
Yeah, that's right. We had that one too.
And I think it's that balance, and the idea of this is to be like a live podcast. It's not only sound, you can see us as well, and there can be interaction, but we depended on you guys to also guide us. If there's other topics, or if you're within your system and you get stuck with something and you would like to just discuss it with someone, share your ideas, then this is where you can go to the forum on the website, ask that type of question, and we will summarize, and then when it gets to a Friday, we will be able and try to answer the question or get someone to assist in answering the question.
Yeah, because it's important to remember we don't know everything about everything, but we hopefully do know someone who knows something about it. So I think that's the other idea, is to, put it out to experts, because we're definitely not experts in all fields, but we've got a good network to try and make sure that we get the right level of information, coming back at the end of the day. So really the session is kind of divided into two, or will be divided into two sectors. The first, where we'll be talking about a particular topic or a particular question that's been raised, or the next session, for example, I want to talk about the new SANS 10330, the new HACCP standard. So a little bit of a presentation from our side in terms of how we see things, and then really open to the floor to say, okay, so what do you think? And let's have some conversation. So that's important to remember, because we want to have these sessions as interactive as possible. And if you are struggling with something, we would really very much like to hear from you. So I'm going to be brave now, and I'm going to open the line and let everyone speak. So we are now giving you full control of your own mute button. So it will be really great to hear from you. Jess, Jamini, Verona, let's have a bit of a conversation. How are you guys doing? Jess, how are you doing?
Morning, Linda. I'm doing fantastic. And yourself?
I'm good, thanks, Jess. So nice to see you. So how's these studies going?
Fantastic. I love every little bit of it. I'm enjoying the food industry beyond what I thought I would. So I think it's quite a shock to my dad's system. If only he'd known sending a 10-year-old to an MPD day would have this effect.
Yeah.
No, I love it.
Oh, that's good, Jess. I'm really glad to hear that. So now you're in your final year now?
Yeah, final year of my master's.
Yes.
So in food microbiology, and I would like to go into the auditing or consulting industry. So I'm quite excited to get involved with that. Yeah.
Excellent.
So that's definitely one of the journeys that we can add, insisting and helping people, because we often get that question, what do I need to do or put in place, and, who do I need to register with, and all of that. So we can definitely, at one of our sessions, discuss that whole journey as well.
Yeah, and maybe let's bring in and maybe, Jess, we could bring in a real live breathing auditor, and we can also you can pose questions to that person, in terms of what would you do differently if you had your life over again, what would you never ever do ever again. I think it's always interesting to ask those questions. What do you think?
I have a massive list if you'd like to read through them.
There we go. I tell you what, Adele and I will go and have our nails done that day, and we'll just let you run the webinar. How's that? You can post all the questions to the auditor. That would be good.
Perfect.
It's so exciting. Sorry, Jess, I want to interrupt you there. It's so exciting for me, to hear someone so excited about the industry and, going in and doing things differently and changing, because I really feel, it is an industry, because we think there's regulations and guidelines and everything, that it stays rigid, there's only one way of doing it. And I think, with you guys, Jess, and everybody coming in, being energized about it, bringing up new ideas. I mean, it's a total different environment, actually. You now got robots doing things and all of that. So I'm so excited talking, to you guys and hearing, how you're experiencing it. So I'm getting so excited for all the sessions, for the Fridays. I think we should do one every Friday and not every second Friday.
Let me know if I can help. No, I'd love to. And I think, Linda will know where my studies are now as well. I'm in the generation that is going out post-COVID, which I love. I can't wait for the opportunities that open because of it. I'm probably one of the few people that COVID has been an absolute blessing for. And, going into an industry after this, it just opens so many doors for new ideas and things in food safety. So I'm very, very excited to be in that part of the industry and in the generation that I am. And, I've got you guys and all the contacts you guys have to open, with advice on how they see things going forward or how it could work better. I'm excited to be involved in that. And there's a lot of questions and I think knowledge that the industry has to share with with the youngsters on how they could do things better.
I get goosies. It's making me so excited.
Also, I love the way you guys color coordinated. Sorry, I know it's a bit off topic, but it's really, really cute. I love it.
It's our corporate color. That's why.
Beautiful.
We had an interesting question, Jess. I have to say, coming, or you're still studying, but I think coming as a graduate into industry, I'm sure the others can also relate. There's always day one going into industry, and that day one, I think, has different connotations to different food scientists or food technologists. But I actually have had a couple of conversations where where a graduate has been given a really responsible position, within an organization without any experience, and I think almost feeling completely overwhelmed with, what are all these acronyms? What is this food safety management system all about, and what have you? And so we're really keen to work on a series where we talk about your first year in food safety, because I think there's so many sort of stepping stones or things that you need to be aware of, going into your first year as a professional, working professional within food safety. So, it will be interesting to get your perspectives and questions, and maybe even, friends and colleagues that you have that are already in industry, to get them to come into that conversation, because we are dealing with people's lives here. At the end of the day, if someone does something wrong out of ignorance, that can have very, very serious, very serious consequences. But we would like to support from that perspective. Shamini, it's a long time ago that you had your day one. Now you're up there in corporate and you're managing the whole world as far as food safety is concerned. How does it feel to be in your shoes in 2021?
Hi, Linda. Hi, Adele. Yeah, I have to say it's great. We're living in some interesting times. I think to the previous speaker, COVID has brought a lot of challenges, a lot of interesting opportunities as well. So it's a great time to be living in. Just remembering to be agile, learning how to work remote. We talked about the robots. I mean, remote auditing is a huge thing, which we a few years ago would have never thought would become a reality, So yeah, it's extremely interesting times, and I think these Friday sessions are great for both us in the industry as well as the students out there, just to learn and share. I think with everything being so dynamic, there's a lot to learn, a lot we can learn from these sessions. So thank you.
It's a pleasure. So Shamini, any burning question on your mind today? Like, what to have for lunch?
No, nothing for now, Linda. Just joining in and listening to everyone's challenges. Yeah.
Okay. So Jess, just so that you know, Shamini has been an auditor. Am I right, Shamini?
Yes, that's correct.
So she can already start to answer some of your questions about, becoming an auditor and
I think. Yes, exactly. Just the journey from, starting off after varsity, to your point, getting straight into it, consulting, went into quality, and then into auditing, back to the food industry. So I think for those of us who have had some experience, it's happy to share, what we've been through, what we think might help. So yeah, I think it'll be good to just chat to some of the graduates as well.
Yeah, Lynn, so I think after the next one, like you said, we're going to talk about SANS 10330. I definitely feel we must do the non-technical, or non-regulatory one, and that should then be the first one, because I think there's a number of people that we can approach in terms of getting involved and giving those tips, what I learned I shouldn't have done, what I would have done differently, and then where do you register and all of that. So I think, that's one that we can definitely tick off, and so that will definitely happen.
For sure. It's going on the list. It's definitely going on the list. Verona, so nice to have you with us. Would you like to share something?
Everyone. Yeah, it's first of all, just thank you for setting, something like this up. It's something that I think everyone needs from whatever point you are in your career with food safety. and all the stuff you've done in the past as well. It's just so relatable and just opened your eyes to a whole new world of or way of seeing things. So thank you both so much for all that you do.
Cool. You make me cry.
Oh, so I was also just thrust into the world of food safety. I actually was in the pharmaceutical industry, thrust in, and you have been my lifeline. So I do owe a lot. So thank you. I agree with everyone else. COVID-19 is just, it's been a spanner in the works, and there's been good and bad, but it's just the new stuff that's coming out is amazing. Every single day you're hearing of regulations being updated. I've been following some stuff on your page about the UK and their little dark kitchen, so to speak. It's stuff we never ever thought about, so it's incredible. And I'm from Durban, so every other housewife has a little kitchen and they're supplying food, and it just makes you stop and think, how are they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. So I'm very, very excited about this. Looking forward to interacting with everyone. Hopefully I'd be able to give advice where possible.
Definitely. I think, everyone has a story and everyone's got experience, even if it's a little bit of experience, but your little bit of experience can be in such a unique context that I've never even thought about that, or I've never even been exposed to that. I really like what you said though about sort of the dark kitchen and the home industry kind of thing, because I think it's definitely an area where I feel we need to be engaging with the departments of health.
Yeah,
Adele will tell you that the law makes no exceptions. So that if I'm producing 24 samosas in my home and selling those in accordance with Regulation 638, that lady is supposed to have a valid certificate of acceptability.
Yes.
And first of all, I think so many people don't know that. And at the end of the day, we might say, well, the risk is very low. Yes, no, 24 samosas, it's only going to be a few people that get sick. But I think it's just making sure that we have a system that actually accommodates for those tiny, tiny little businesses. And I think the requirements can be quite overwhelming to a small business. And I've been saying to the department for a while, and I'm going to continue saying it to them, they need to almost have a home industry kind of certification where there's the bare minimum, but the bare minimum is at least in place. And hopefully, we can sort of make some headway there to bring more and more people into the fold so that they do the right things, but it's not as difficult for them to do the right things, particularly home-based, where you've got someone who's really trying to make ends meet and they've lost their jobs and they cook really well, but we've got to just manage the risk in that regard. So very, very close to my heart.
Yeah, I think, Lynn, in terms of that, there's some of the local authorities that has got bylaws, where they give that guidance for those people. But I think the challenge also comes in, some people don't even know how to get hold of their environmental health practitioners. And unfortunately, on their side as well, also my passion, I've got a very soft spot for any person in the profession, because that's where I started and that's where I got my love for this industry, is I think they're very overwhelmed at the moment with COVID, because they are also playing that role. So it's not only food safety, that's one of their responsibilities. They've got so many other responsibilities, So I think it's just that then for the people that want to do the right thing, to try and guide them, how to get hold of the environmental health practitioner.
Yeah.
But I am so looking forward to it, and thank you very much for the people that did sign in, and send on those questions, send on those ideas, and really, like we said, this is our first one for our live podcast, call it what you want, getting into contact with you guys, and we are excited. And Lynn, I'm going to give over to you so that you can wrap up.
Absolutely. Okay, so I think what's the next step? So the next step is look out for the next session. So as we said, it will be every second week. What is also important is please to submit questions, ideally beforehand, because then we can make sure that we prepare prepared and we've got the right answers. We can do a short presentation. So that would be very helpful to make sure that we're on target and we're actually talking to your needs. We don't just want to have a cup of coffee, although we really like chatting to you, but we want to make sure that we are dealing with specific issues. So you're welcome to pop us an email, jotting down your questions. If you're more comfortable having your questions anonymous, that's also okay. We won't mention names or companies. We'll just, say, one of our friends had this question and how can we answer this question? So won't you pop those through to us so that we can take it the next step? And please share the love. So if you know anyone who could benefit from this kind of chat on a Friday at 10 to 10:30, won't you please pass on the information so that we can make the circle bigger, so that everyone can be a part of the process. So from us, over and out. Enjoy the weekend. We trust it's a good one, and we look forward to chatting to you again in the future. Dali, last words?
Absolutely, guys. Love you guys. Awesome to be in contact with you, and have an awesome, lovable weekend. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Adele. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.